I have never purchased seat covers in my life, but when a company offered a full set of leather universal seat covers in exchange for a video, I thought, hey, I could try it out and possibly fix a hole in my kid's Lexus driver's seat. What follows is my installation, box opening, and review of the Coverado universal faux leather seat covers. 100% candid, 100% no BS. Here are the sections of this video. Feel free to jump around to the part that interests you most. Before we get started, let's take a look at the current state of the seats. As you can see, rips, holes, some extreme wear. They're definitely getting tired. Here are the new seats installed in the front. Okay, let's get started. I must say the color match is very fortuitous for myself. I mean, that's pretty dang close. It's not identical, but I just don't think most people are going to notice the difference. Very pleased with the color match, which again may be applicable for you and your car. It might not be, but I lucked out. There's a close-up of the before on the passenger side seat. As you can see, definitely started to wear away. Wouldn't really see there's any large holes. There is this kind of developing one right here that's starting to cause some issues, but for the most part, pretty decent condition. The back, on the other hand, is looking really good. I don't even think I'm gonna put the seat covers on here. I like the back cup holder option, and that will be covered up by the Coverado seat covers. To get started, at least in my case, take off the headrest so you can slide over the cover. Take that, place it over the top, try to kind of slip it in, slip it on. In this case, I actually found that it was a little bit better to come from behind and pull than from up front. One thing you'll see when we flip around here in just a minute and you see the back of my seats is they have kind of a hard plastic back from the factory, and they kind of suck in quite tight towards the bottom, giving the back passengers a little bit more legroom. It's definitely an odd shape for a seat. I don't think I've ever had a vehicle with a similar shaped seat, and you're going to notice it because of that. The material in the back is going to be a little bit more saggy than I would think is going to be typical for your average seat. I'm guessing, for the typical seat, these are going to fit actually even better than mine. But again, I have a very unique back of seat. So getting back to the installation, once you have successfully pulled over the cover, then you can go ahead and put the headrest back in. Simply just goes back into the normal spots. Then you have these little 4 black clips along the top. You can go ahead and pull them together, push the buttons, they kind of clip in. Unfortunately, the button is black. It'd be really nice if it was a matched tan color so they were more inconspicuous, but it's a small detail, especially when the headrest is pushed down. You kind of don't see them because it does kind of block them with the headrest. But that's the next stage in this installation, is just buttoning up those, getting that nice and tight. It does wrap tightly around the 2 poles. There doesn't seem to be like a huge gap or anything there. All right, moving on, we have a variety of straps coming out the bottom of the top cover, and what you're going to just do here is insert the plastics elastic stretchy material over the middle of the ring. And you do that with 3 of them, and then once you get 3 of them connected, then you're going to push really hard, push all 3 of those down underneath the seat and out the back. Unfortunately for my particular car, I actually had like a cover over that I'm going to have to remove to be able to push those all the way through and fasten them. But for at least this video's purposes, you'll kind of see, what it should be like. And the majority of cars aren't going to have this issue, but as you can see in this view, it's a little bit hard because the back of the seat covers are kind of blocking it, but there isn't a clear shot to the seam, so you're not going to actually see the 3 clips that I pushed through the gap because there's a whole seat back. The better thing would probably be to remove the seat completely from the car, just to kind of get more access. That is, I would say, a downside of this kit is it can be a little cumbersome trying to get everything situated you know, kind of tight spots, awkward spots, but you know, you can definitely do it. So here we are. We're now going to move forward with the seat bottom for the passenger seat. We'll go and grab that here in a second. As you can see, the new seat cover compared to the bottom is a pretty similar color match. So really happy with that. Okay, here we are. Let's go ahead and knock out the headrest. Pretty straightforward. You're gonna put the long-sided end towards the back, and then what's gonna happen is that little beaver tail, if you want to call it that, you pull that from underneath, from behind, and then you slide it up the front, and it has Velcro on it, and then the Velcro is gonna attach to the foam of the headrest itself, and just kind of attaches it there. If you leave the headrest up high, it definitely looks a little bit goofier. You'll see later on in the video when I push the headrest down, it kind of looks, you know, a little bit cleaner and more typical of what the OEM headrests look like. But when they're up high like this, you can definitely see, you know, it kind of looks almost like a Lego head. It's just sitting up there. So anyways, moving to the seat cushion, go ahead and unclip the plastic clips and put it into place. Okay, moving over to the driver side, gonna go ahead and release the clips on the top of the portion, and then go ahead and slide that on. Again, it's a little bit awkward. If you had two sets of hands, it'd probably be a little bit easier, but you get it. You just kind of slide it over. And then like I showed earlier in the video, you go ahead and take your seat headrest, slide it back in through the bracket, and then with that in place, you can now go ahead and button up those 4 buttons along the top. All right, moving to the headrest. Again, go ahead and slide that over the top. The beaver tail, come from behind, slide it up underneath, just as seen here. Push it up with your hand. Try not to let it touch the actual inside material of the headrest until it's pushed and tucked up there high. But once it's up there, now you can kind of push the front of the headrest, and that will mate the Velcro. And then from there, if you want, you can go ahead and lower the headrest. And as you can see, it kind of tucks it in on the, you know, the driver's side headrest definitely looks better than the passenger side one. I'll go ahead and make that tweak a little bit later on the passenger side one. But now moving on to the seat cushion, again, just kind of place this, then reach around for the clips in the side back, and those will then connect with the elastic on the part that slides underneath the middle, you know, gap right there. So that'll make it nice and tight. I don't have footage showing that because, again, the back of my seats have a cover that really kind of blocks anything from being pushed through. All right, here are the after photos of the seats installed. Again, just the front seats have the seat covers from Coverado. The back seat does not. You can see the tan and the rest of the vehicle matches very nicely with the existing leather color. Here's another angle a little bit further back. Really just makes the car almost look brand new. Just kind of shocked at how well they look. Of course, they're, you know, covers, so they're not gonna be perfect. There's some gap, there's some spaciness, there's some pudginess to it compared to, you know, a real leather seat cover. But you know, making your leather seats look great and new is really just, you know, a little bit of time and some effort away from you know, putting these covers in. You know, I think what's important is just having a good understanding from the right expectations. Again, this is not replacing the leather. This is not glued onto your old seats. You know, these get relatively tight, but there's definitely going to be some gaps and some bagginess. You know, it is what it is. It's not thousands of dollars. It's, you know, you were talking a few hundred at most. So it, you know, there's some compromises compared to, you know, completely replacing the leather seats in your car with what was originally installed. So you know, some compromises. You just have to decide if that's something worthwhile for you, if it's a big enough of a trade-off or not. It's important to note in a review like this that we can't test and talk to durability and longevity of the product since we literally just installed it, but so far a couple weeks in, they've been doing great. In the next section of the video, I'm going to add some bonus footage for those that are interested in seeing the unboxing, but kind of a boring section, so do as you please. It comes in a pretty compact box, as you see. It's going to expand greatly. I always admire manufacturers that can really pack a punch when it comes to putting their product in really concentrated spaces, because you're going to see here in just a second how much this transforms into a much larger collection of fabric and material. So it comes in this nice carry case. Again, really not sure what value it's going to provide right off the bat. I guess you could repurpose it for something around your home, but really just you kind of unzip it, and then you have some really basic instructions. I'd recommend viewing some of the YouTube videos on their website to get a little bit better idea. But mainly what you're going to see here is the two front seats are kind of stacked together with each other. Here I'm getting a good feel for the material. Definitely a nice, thick, high quality feel. It's of course not leather. It's a fake leather product. I wouldn't even say it resembles leather in any way. Visually, I would say it does, but from a physical standpoint, it's definitely more of a softer, less smooth, material. But definitely has a nice felt padding on the inside. It seems like it's really well made. Stitching seems high quality. It seems, for a universal set, it seems to be pretty good. One of the other things to note is it does have airbag bolster side components that apparently will break open if the airbags do deploy. So that's nice of them to be thinking and making sure that their product isn't going to hinder that system. So here I am starting to pull out the back seat. Again, plan isn't to install these because I'm really happy with my back seat, the condition of it currently. But you will, as you dig a little bit deeper, get into the different clips and pieces that you use to tie and snug up the Coverado seat covers. So got a variety of clips. We'll show those a little bit later in the installation video. So one last little look up close. These are the little clips. They clip into the elastic strings. There's also some metal clips and a couple other plastic shaped clips that are for different points, but we're pretty much going to be using the round ones to do the majority of this job. As mentioned earlier, we've linked all the items in the video description below, which, by the way, if you click on one of those links and buy something, shortly after I might get a small kickback at no cost to you. Also, there's a way to help small creators like myself via the super thanks button below the video. And lastly, it wouldn't be a video from the internet if I didn't ask you to hit the subscribe button. At least my pleading was at the end of the video, so you didn't have to sit through that before getting the information you came for. Regardless of what you may or may not do, I appreciate your time.